Welcome to Slightly Off Script, the marriage show where we remind you that marriage can be stupid good and wicked fun. I'm one of your hosts, Bethany Needham, here with, look at those mad dance skills, Andy Needham, just so eager for his TikTok dance that he's already warming up over here.
I would not describe it that way.
Well, that's what I saw.
Willing and eager are not the same things.
Well, either way, we still need 500 YouTube subscribers in order to make this dance happen. So, friends, I beg of you, I plead of you, you know what? Subscribe. Go on your friends' devices and subscribe. Whatever we need to do to make this happen. Also, continue sending in your recommendations for what TikTok dance we want to see him do.
I was going to say you could go on your children's devices, but I mean, that could be dangerous.
Go on your children's devices and subscribe to this. It's not like they're going to be sneaking off to watch our marriage show.
Yeah, it's like Bluey or us.
Same. The same.
What was your favorite Saturday morning cartoon? What was the show that you're going to go watch?
Oh, that's a good question. I am not remembering a lot of cartoons, to be honest. My memories of favorite shows were like Home Improvement.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, that was a favorite. Family Matters.
Okay, these are completely Thursday night or whatever.
It's a rare condition this day and age. Sorry.
Did you have a Jonathan Taylor Thomas poster?
Listen, just one? No.
Just one. What were those weird magazine, Bop or something? I don't remember what. Yeah.
Oh, listen, if I had those magazines, which I probably did see them, trouble. They were not in my house. That's that is like drug paraphernalia in the Levin's house.
Roll a joint with that.
Yeah, I might have. No,
you did not.
I did not, but I for sure would not have kept those in my house. I would have been too scared of.
So, Family Matters, Home Improvement, any other shows of childhood?
Full House.
Full House.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm just in terms of Full House. I
really liked Looney Tunes.
Yeah,
Just changing the topic.
I feel like you for sure crushed on a girl from Full House. I'm just putting it out there. So
I share these secrets with you, and you broadcast them.
Listen, Jonathan Taylor Thomas has already been mentioned.
That's true.
So
I did kind of go right there. So
yeah,
I liked NBA Inside Stuff, which was like a highlight show on Saturday morning. I would watch that. I know you were probably getting up to watch that at 11:30 in the morning.
Highlights of sports?
Yeah, sports.
Oh, yeah. No.
No.
We were not the same.
Did anybody in your family enjoy watching sports?
To be honest, not that I can remember.
Maybe your dad watching golf would probably be the closest thing.
I just don't remember. I was not medicated at that point.
Did you have a television?
Barely. One of my brothers was probably more into cartoons than others. Sense. To this day. Shout out Nathaniel.
Did you have how about snack? What are you eating while you're watching?
What am I eating? Your parents gave you snacks?
Probably frozen fish sticks for you, right? That was like the classic.
No, we honestly... Probably not healthy. I remember a lot of chips, cookies, just the packaged stuff.
All dressed chips?
Oh, yes. If you have not tried those.
Tell people what those are because they may not know.
They're all dressed. They have like all the seasonings.
Versus undressed chips?
Yes. Not naked. They're fully dressed. I could only find them in Canada, but now I find them in different places. As Humpty Dumpty, they got some all dressed chips.
Sort of the everything bagel of the chip world. Like we just took everything we had and
kind of. That was actually not my favorite flavor though. Ketchup chips.
Oh.
That was my jam. And I have not seen those here. I don't know why.
I have an idea.
You guys have dill pickled chips. Why not ketchup chips?
Every brand now has 75 variations of it. Like Oreos. We grew up and there was like Oreos and then double stuff Oreos. Yes. And now, like, this has been a problem because, like, when I send you, like, hey, Bethany, can you go get some Triscuits at the grocery store? And you come back and I'm like, I don't want the rosemary, olive oil, whatever. Like,
yeah, guys, you want to know what's humiliating? Returning groceries to the grocery store to get your money back because, sorry, my husband won't eat these kinds of Triscuits.
No.
I need my money back.
I need the OG Triscuits.
But it's not even like, fine, we'll keep these and eat them too. Go get. It's like, take this. Here's the receipt. Now go Go humiliate yourself
I
at
did not
customer
grow up
service.
with get the wrong item and just keep it money. I don't know about you. That's a different.
We were rolling in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
not at all. But yeah, no, I agree. There's too many. And Lay's, I don't know if they still do it, but for a while they were doing that competition where they were making all
Make
these.
your own kind.
Well, like people would come up with these crazy flavors. They would release for a short term, like a number of them, and then you vote on which one actually. And then I don't know what you win. More chips probably, but there's some nasty flavors. Chicken and waffles, I feel like at one point.
No.
I don't know. So
That's a big thing because we were down in the South. Like people are like, oh, you should have chicken and waffles. I'm like, I'll have chicken and then waffles. Not and.
yeah, and I'm sure actual chicken and waffles
I'm
is
sure it's
probably
good.
delicious, but I don't need my chips to taste like that. I'll just go eat chicken and waffles.
Okay.
Let's take this thing that might have some possible protein and let's just make it a potato chip.
I don't think people who are eating chicken and waffles are thinking about protein. I mean, how many macros are in this?
I'm giving, you know what? Maybe they're in bulking
I'm just
season.
saying, if you enjoy chicken and waffles, that's fine. But I'm sure that that's part of your rhythm. That is not the like. Let's get.
Listen, for all my bodybuilders out there who are bulking
Bulking
right
season is
now, my power lifters, I just want you can send your hate mail to Andy at just kidding.
Well, we're like halfway through the holiday season, and I've learned from your time doing powerlifting that you can just refer to this season as bulking season, and then that's like the legitimate, like strategic way of just eating whatever you want.
Well, yeah, if you're gonna eat whatever you want, then you have to just be like, I'm dirty bulking.
Dirty bulking.
Yeah, we're not clean bulking here. This is just packing all the calories in. Yeah. You can call it whatever you want. You're still gonna gain weight. But
Just getting a brand.
yeah. It's just how you present it. So yeah, bulking season. I'm in I think my 10th month of bulking season. I'm feeling strong. Can't wait for the
I
holidays.
think you look fantastic.
Aw, thanks, babe.
Absolutely.
I was just fishing for that compliment, so I appreciate it.
Well, now that we've had our weekly nostalgia, remembering the things from the 1900s, we're going to talk today about our value of play. That's going to be the value that we'll talk about. But before we do that,
Wah, wah.
wah. That's what. No, that's like the opposite of play.
Oh, not that kind of play. All right, sorry. Edit.
I don't even know what you're talking about. Maybe I should. You said wah wah, not what the wah wah. There's a difference between. Nobody wants to hear wah wah.
Okay, sorry.
You're gonna have to compose yourself because if I edit this all out and you're just running the face.
Okay,
Okay,
breathing.
You're fine.
Okay,
Then we're
sorry.
gonna
Waka waka wah wah. All right, go ahead.
What do I pick up from there? I don't know.
I want to know. Oh, I'm ready.
We're going to talk about our core value of play today. That's going to be the last one where we made it through. We're done with the podcast.
We have no
After
more
this,
values.
We have no more values. No, like 4 core values.
Yes.
We're actually going to play a game today. We're going to like put it into practice.
I just found out about this game, so
Yeah.
I have a feeling I'm going to come out looking
I've
not
tried.
great.
I hope you get to the other side of it because I started to like develop the game and I realized that I was defaulting to the like, let me make Bethany look dumb. And
I knew it.
I course corrected, I think.
Okay, well,
We'll see. We'll be,
I might just look dumb through the whole
Well,
thing.
we'll
You're
see.
like,
I made it really easy. So that way, if you don't get it right, no, just kidding.
oh dear.
I lowered the bar. No, so before that, we often think about in terms of ways to grow, about growing in our mind, body, and soul, loving God with all our heart, mind, soul, and strength. We're thinking about some resources that we could share that have been meaningful to us in this season. And we're going to do one for our mind, one for our body, and one for our soul.
Yeah.
So do you want to go first with your mind?
Sure. So I actually have, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll get a little visual here because I have a book. I heard about this on a podcast. Sorry, I can't remember which podcast, but it's called A Radical Guide for Women with ADHD. And it's by a number of doctors, which I'm not going to try and say their names now that I'm looking at them.
You do
So
realize there's a little bit of an irony that you can't remember the name of the podcast that you heard about the ADHD book.
it was an ADHD. Listen, recent diagnosis. I've been listening to a lot of information, and
Yes.
so just too many
You
podcasts
have grace. I just wanted to observe that.
to rip. You have grace. I just wanted to shame you first. So that book, in all seriousness, if you are a woman, obviously it's for women, but if maybe you're struggling with some things or you have had some conversations that have been like, I wonder if this might be something that is going on for me. Since we released the episode where I talked about the ADHD, I had a friend reach out who their daughter, who is a young adult, this is something that they have a diagnosis with. And so I was thinking, even for that friend, that this was a book I was going to recommend. Like, hey, if she's interested, it's a workbook. So it's very like you're filling out things. But man, it was really, really helpful for me.
That's great. Absolutely.
What about your mind?
So I've been reading a lot for seminary and being told what books to read, which I'm looking forward to. I'm almost done with my degree and I'll be able to choose what books to read. I've enjoyed the program and I came across a great book for me, and it's a book by a guy named Chuck DeGroat. And he started out as a pastor and then went on a journey to get degrees in therapy. Now he's a professor. He's got a number of books out. You can find him. He was just on Carrie Newhoff's podcast very recently, but a book that is a little older is called Hardest People to Love. And it's a look at how sometimes as in life, in the church, in pastoral world, there's always hard people to love. Like that's just part of like every church I go into, there's always like some crazy people. Like that's just part, like I actually get thankful for that. But I know when you're leading an organization or if you're in relationship with that can be a really hard thing. And so he does a really good job of talking about what does it look like to express Christ-like love to people that are not easy to love. He talks about like from a clinical perspective with a pastoral angle, things like narcissism, things like personality disorders. One of the things I really like in there, he defines different kinds of fools. Like Proverbs talks about the fool, and he has like a paradigm to talk about, because there's certain types of fools that are not going to do a lot of damage or harm. And, he says sometimes we're too dismissive, but then there are points where it's like, okay, this could be really destructive. And so I found it to be a great, great book. It's not a perfect book, but I gleaned a lot from it and I would highly recommend it. That's Hardest People to Love, and that's by Chuck DeGroat.
That was the one you were telling me about that I look forward to reading it.
It's like, this reminded me of you.
I know. You're like, this is how I love you so well.
You're not hard to love. All right. Next one, we're going to body.
Ooh, so for Mother's Day, you gifted this to me, as in I told you, hey, I want this. And you're like, okay, you can buy it for yourself. Just sometimes.
That's where we are in our relationship.
Yeah. Well, sometimes on Mother's Day.
Flowers aren't going to cut it. That's fine.
I'm not usually a flowers girl. Actually, a workout program. And sorry, I'm going to pull it up. So again, I don't mess this up. But on mindpumpmedia.com, they have these programs are called MAPS fitness programs. And there's one called Muscle Mommy, and that's the one that I purchased. And I have been loving this program. It's been just something that I've enjoyed following. I will say that it is not like a beginner lifting program, and so I wouldn't recommend it if you're somebody looking to start lifting, but they have all kinds of programs. And honestly, everything I've seen by them, I've been really impressed with. But one of the things that brought up was in the Muscle Mommy program, it actually had talked about hormone testing and the importance at my age of having my hormones tested. And they're honestly some of new symptoms, I'll call them, in the last couple of years that I have noticed and tried to talk with my primary care doctor. And I have a great primary care doctor. She's wonderful. But in the arena of hormones and some of the things that I've been going through, I felt like I was not getting a lot of help with, okay, so is there anything I can do? What should I consider? I ended up finding the functional medicine doctor. It was such a God thing. Was one of those situations where I was literally praying that God would just help me find the right doctor to help me with some of these things. And so I found a doctor that actually took our insurance, which even the insurance company was like, I have never seen this. I'm looking forward to taking this step in terms of my own health, of advocating for, hey, these things are not, I have not been dealing with this my whole life. It's only been recent. I do think having my hormones tested, having some things looked at and see where it's at. The Muscle Mommy program kind of encouraged that. That was one of the things they're like, hey, if you're, this age or older, this is something that you should really start with, just so you know what's going on.
So back up a second, though, in terms of like the Muscle Mommy, when you say a program, it's basically like a schedule, like a plan for like when you go to a gym, what to do each day, what you're focusing on, rep zones, like that. It's like just give like a real, like for somebody who doesn't know,
Sure.
it's not as smart as you about that.
It's not smart. It's
Experience,
just, yeah, it's just experience. So any of you could learn if you don't already know. So Muscle Mommy program is primarily a lifting program. That means this is a program that is giving me on, day one, you're doing these exercises. It tells me how many repetitions, sets. I'm not going to go into a whole fitness, but it's walking me through a workout. It's not, they do have on their website, if you're not sure of something, there's like video links that will show you somebody doing the move. It gives really good descriptions for each one.
I think a good idea for us to, at some point, just do an episode just talking about how we've learned, like in the physical fitness, our different rhythms and cadence and some of that. You sparked something that was actually different than what I was going to talk about. But, one of the things that's helped me, we've been traveling a lot, and I was like, okay, need to get back on the nutrition train. I find that when I track my food and I use an app, there's a number of really great apps out there that have good libraries, but Lose It is one. It just makes it very intentional for me to be able to be aware of what I'm eating. So anyway, that's been helpful for me. Let me do the soul one first, and then I'll kick it to you. So yeah, for me, one of the things that's really important for my soul is to be creating things. And so I have really enjoyed creating this podcast. I've had a lot of fun with it. I'm learning a whole bunch of things by making lots of mistakes and just keep trying to make new ones. I enjoy just making and building, and there's an entrepreneurial spirit that's just part of the way God wired me. And so if I'm not creating things, then I'm not fully alive. And so that would be one thing with my soul.
You're doing a great job. I appreciate your creativity. So
thank you.
So for me, soul is a big part, and this is ongoing for me, but waking up early. Even though we don't have small kids in the house or anything like that, there is something about early mornings. And again, I do think this is part of my wiring, that it is quiet. It just, everything is at a slower pace.
Right now you have you turn the Christmas tree on.
Yes. I have kind of my routine
Spot,
that I come down, I turn on the Christmas tree lights, or the Christmas lights in the living room, and I have my spot with the different books and Bible and everything that I have to spend time with Jesus, pour my mug of hot coffee and
watch the sunrise.
Yes, I get to see the sunrise. I also have a specific playlist, like it's an instrumental thing that I play while I'm there. And that for me is kind of just an anchoring point to my day. I just started a new job that's kind of go, go, go. And I notice it, especially now, just that importance of carving out that early morning, even on the mornings where I'm so tired and I'm like, oh, I could sleep this whole chunk of time. But I never, ever regret getting up and spending that time with Jesus. And sometimes it's just like journaling, prayer, and some time in the words. That's a huge one for me.
Bethany has like 12 books going on with and I'm like, here's my ESV Bible and here's my journal. That's it.
Yeah.
Different personalities. It's fine. It's a good thing. So,
I usually have like 3 books that I do a chapter, and I'll only read like either a little section or a chapter depending on the length from each book. So a little bit of everything is I'm great with the buffet.
Yeah.
That's how I do mine.
One Christmas gift suggestion, you're wearing yours out, but favorite devotional in our family is Paul Tripp's New Morning Mercies.
So good.
Such a good one.
My cover fell off.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how worn out it is.
Maybe get the leather bound one.
Yes, I recommend it.
If you have the kind of budget where you can buy like all the Triscuits, then you can go.
Okay.
Call back. All right.
Call back shame.
Oh. All right. Well, let's pivot to our values. We've had great episodes talking about community, and we've talked about authenticity. We've talked about mission. And from the very beginning, there was this word, honestly, was probably one of the first things that I think when we whiteboarded, you're like, we have to represent this. This is something that is really important to you. And that is the principle of play. And why is that so important to you?
Well, one, my wiring, I am in love adventure, love fun, but I just think there is something in marriage, and it's literally in the description of our show where we talk about stupid good and wicked fun. There's a lot of spaces I've found anyways where people talk about the challenges of marriage, the sort of the work in marriage. That's true. Like all of those things exist, but I wish that we had more spaces to talk about the play side of marriage and just what does it look like to actually intentionally spend time having fun together. And again, we use the word play, but we were talking to a couple last night about this, the importance of investing in that side of your marriage, that is not a selfish thing or a just frivolous thing, but actually I firmly believe that the investments we have made, whether it's like trips that we've taken, just the two of us, or dates that we've gone on, that those are just vital investments in the health of our marriage, that it's not always working through the hard things and everything else, like that we actually do enjoy having fun and finding spaces to do that together.
Yeah. And I mean, no one goes into marriage being like, I just hope this is like a root canal for 25 years. Like, they just like, this is going to, but I think sometimes we talk about it. We talk about marriage in kind of like a very cynical, like negative kind of a way.
The ball and chain.
The ball and chain.
Yeah.
And again, like you
the
said,
life sentence.
there is, I think, authenticity and play both need to be values, because it is not this sort of, and I've used roses, rainbows, unicorns. I've used all the different phrases in the last couple podcasts, but it is not sort of this like naive reality. It is genuine fun. Like, it is really learning to have a cadence. One of the things for us getting married so young was that we realized, like, we're going to have we're in the genesis of this, but we're going to have a lot of time after our kids are adults. And so we better invest in our marriage and actually enjoy each other, and not just be sort of roommates or family managers, those are easy traps to fall into. And sometimes you're going to feel that way at times. Like, that's just going to be reality. But if you're not intentional, and play, I think, is one of those intentionalities. It's not just having family meetings. It's not just having the right budget. It's not just running a smooth household. It's legitimately finding joy in the gift that God has given to you.
This is a good place to mention, and is important, that we're not talking about a play that is just avoiding conflict either.
No.
Like, this is not about, I don't want to have the hard conversation, so let's just go do something fun and avoid. Now, maybe there are situations where, okay, we need to press pause on this, but play in and of itself is not about avoiding the hard things.
No.
So in a lot of ways, just that it being this overflow, and even in some ways, I guess, the outcome of doing the hard work and being able to really enjoy playing and having fun. But again, if you're not intentional, at least for a lot of people in their wiring, it just doesn't happen, especially if you're in busy seasons with kids and get, ministry or work or whatever. It can be the thing that just gets pushed off and pushed off.
Yeah. If you think of play, like, one of the phrases that we use is that it's intimacy building. And, it obviously includes the marriage bed, like that's part of play. But if you think of like the fire of your marriage, like, it actually needs oxygen, it needs air, it needs space. And I think, especially in Western culture, we live in the Northeast, where it's like drive, achieve. I'm someone who likes to perform. I like to get stuff done. It can feel unproductive.
Oh, yeah.
To play.
Yeah. Well, in some ways, I'm trying to think of any play that necessarily feels productive, but I guess there's some.
It is. Well, this is partially our problem, is the definition of productive.
Yes.
Because we're thinking like, oh, I checked a list. I can look and see what I accomplished. I built this thing. I did this thing. I made this money.
Yeah.
I think it's very productive, but it doesn't feel always productive.
Yeah. And I know, at least in our instance, most times when we have made the decision or set time aside and done things, it's not because everything on our to-do list was done.
Yeah,
Like,
that day doesn't exist.
If you wait for that, then you're never going to have space to have fun and play. And so there are the things that absolutely need to get done, but then there's going to be those things that like, yeah, we're going to set these things aside, and we're going to go have fun. In that sense, feeling the I'm not being productive with these things that I need to get done is, yeah, well, it'll still be there in 3 hours or 3 days, depending on what your fun activity is.
Well, in a broader sense too, like we need to have play in our lives. And some of that is going to be like, I enjoy sports. I like going to play softball and pretending like I'm 20 years old again. And that is not your favorite form of play. And that's okay. Like you can have hobbies, like there's certain shows you enjoy watching or things you enjoy doing that just like not my form of play. And that's okay. But part of what you're trying to learn is like, okay, where are the spaces that we can come together and we can do things together that are fun.
Yeah.
I think another thing that is sort of a misnomer is it's not just trying to maintain a thrill, like chasing. This can get like, we're going to talk in a minute about like some of our times we've gotten away and vacations and different things, but it's not always about one-upping. It's not always like up and to the right. It's not always bigger is better, which is a tendency. I say these things because I sometimes struggle with this reality. There's many, many times where it's sort of like on a computer that's overheating. You have to like press and hold the power button and turn it off and reboot it. There's a lot of moments, even in a lot of parts of marriage, but in play, where you kind of just have to say, okay, this is a reset. That includes physical intimacy, where it's like you cannot live your marriage trying to just one up every single experience that you have. But there are moments where it's fireworks and it's awesome.
Yeah.
But then, we've had times where we're like, all right, we just need to slow down and simplify. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I feel like we've had to have honest or earnest conversations around this, because there is that part of play where it's important to be present in the play and not trying to recreate something that has already happened. Part of play is there's going to be some times where it just doesn't go the way you planned. It could be something where it's just awkward and you feel like it's almost like feeling like you're right-handed trying to do something left-handed. And yes. So I just think being willing to continue in communication, but also just being mindful of that there are some times, and we have, and maybe this will come up in the game. I don't know, because I don't know what game you have planned, but there are moments that I can remember in our marriage where it had that like everything is just coming together,
yeah.
magical moment where you're like, are you kidding me?
Sort of the Jim and Pam at the Niagara Falls where you're just like,
yes. And the reality is that is a handful of moments in 22 years of marriage. And there are so many more that, if I'm honest, I'm like, it wasn't without its challenges and awkwardness or misunderstandings or whatever. Like, it's not going to be perfect. And that's okay. That's not a failure. That's part of the journey. And sometimes it's, hey, we tried this thing and that did not work. So
I think though the only way to have those sort of, maybe euphoric is not the best word, but sort of those moments, those magical moments in marriage, because most of life is mundane, most of marriage is mundane, but play is how you cultivate how that can happen. And so if you don't have play as an ethic in your marriage, you're unlikely to just stumble into that type of a moment. And you said it already too, but it's not conflict avoidance. Like, I think there's a big difference, even in like rest, whether it's our Sabbath or our vacations. There's a difference between like watching a show to unplug and like binging all of Netflix to like just numb your brain, or, enjoying food or drink for the joy, whether you eat or drink, do it to the glory of God, versus like, I'm just trying to escape. That sort of escapism. So play is not escapism in its purest form. You ought to be fully embodied in that experience. That's an important thing.
I agree.
Great. So let's talk about some principles in terms of fun. It does not have to be expensive. And I like thinking about like weekly fun versus weekly date. Like, I feel like weekly date feels like a lot of pressure. Like, I got to like figure out something extravagant to do. But weekly fun can be walking is one thing that we really enjoy doing. All Trails app. You can use the free version. If you're not a hiker, you can set that to like easiest hikes and go discover some spaces around you.
Yeah.
And what are some other sort of not expensive things that like making a meal at home, like and just kind of like, okay, like we're just going to get some nicer food and.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I was going to say that like making dinner together at home, doing something that's just fun in terms of that. Sometimes, well, I don't know. If you're somebody that always eats dinner and watches TV, maybe the fun thing is turn off the TV, light a couple of candles. We do this sometimes, actually frequently, where we'll play soft jazz and we have candles lit and we're eating dinner and just changing the atmosphere.
You bring up sort of an inside joke with us. Like one of the times we were like
the not so soft jazz.
Yeah, so we're like made some dinner. We got like the candles on the counter, and Bethany's like, Alexa, play soft jazz, and then it was like, Alexa's playing soft jazz, and it was like the loudest.
So loud. Your voice for me sounded like I was like seducing Alexa.
Yeah.
Alexa. Yeah, Alexa volume was like at whatever the max volume is. It was very obnoxious. Talk about a moment not going the way that you planned.
That's funny. That was hilarious.
Yeah. So no, like that. But if you're somebody that you usually just sit and have this quiet dinner, maybe it's great. Like find one of your favorite shows growing up on a streaming service and have dinner in front of the TV, like Rebels.
And we have a lot of things like you don't enjoy watching sports with me. I don't enjoy watching Gilmore Girls, but we've found things like we often at Christmas time will watch Band of Brothers, which is like a tradition for us. We mentioned earlier in a different episode our summer 90s movies.
Yeah.
You know, we've been kind of on a kick with Alaska, The Last Frontier, which is on Max, which is like just a wholesome family living in Alaska kind of thing. As we've gotten older, the shows have to get shorter so we don't fall asleep. But
Very true. Yeah. Honestly, we joked about nostalgia, but in some ways, I think if you think about the things you're nostalgic about,
that's a good word.
There's a lot of opportunity to create some fun there. And either that or the other thing, at least maybe this is how I'm wired, think about the things that either you weren't allowed to do as a kid or you're like eating ice cream for dinner. Like tonight we're having ice cream sundae. It's just easy. Those are not crazy expensive things, but they're easy ways to just have fun and be silly together. Yeah, unless you're lactose intolerant, that's not fun.
You'll pay for that later.
That'll end your romantic evening real fast.
Some other things for us, like we love fire pit. It's always a hit. Sometimes we'll make charcuterie or something like that and bring it out there. So those are some things at home. And then when we do go out, like oftentimes we just order appetizers. Like we're like, I don't need a 1,400 calorie, chicken Alfredo.
Half-priced appetizers are our jam.
Huge winner.
If we can find those, that's the way to go.
That's a good one. I think it was around this is year will be 22 years of marriage, but around our 10th anniversary, we did something for the first time and it kind of built slowly a principle for us. You want to talk about that?
About going on our first cruise?
Yes.
All right. It was our 10th anniversary. We decided go big or go home, I guess. And that first year was not easy to make that, make a trip. We had to find childcare. There's a lot of things to juggle.
We were in the thick of it.
Yeah, we were not rolling in the dough. So there was a lot of just the savings and just all the things that went in. But we decided for our 10th, we wanted to do something. And so we ended up going on this cruise and we found our people. Like we've always known that the older crowd is our crowd. We didn't know that they gather on a regular basis. For meals, shows, like they're on the boats. That's where they've been all this time. And so we went and hung out with the old people and it was fantastic. I will say cruising is not for everyone for a number of reasons. But for us, this is something that we discovered going on a trip where you do pay up front. So like you don't have to think about the cost of every meal and like you're just not thinking about that. There are all sorts of activities that are open to you, but not mandatory to attend. And honestly, for me, I don't know if this is the same for you. There's no other scenario in my life where I get dressed up to go to a nice dinner, and then I get to go to a live show afterwards. Now, granted, not every show is created equal.
Which is part of the fun.
Yes. Some of them we have left 5 minutes in, and some of them we have laughed about for hours after. That we'll never get that 45 minutes back of our lives, but it's hilarious. So yeah, it was incredible. And we have done some since. And that, again, not for everyone, but for us, cruising was one of those sort of sweet spots where both of us felt like it was something we enjoyed.
The how is not as important as the why. And the why, and I think some people miss this, and I would just really encourage people to push forward. And it may not be a cruise, it may be for like one night, but I would say like one of the ways that you invest in your marriage is that you have to spend time with just your spouse. Like it's critical to do that. There are seasons of life where that's like, there's a lot that goes into that. Like it can be, like very difficult to align the stars to make that happen. And it might be one night away in somebody's house nearby, like a vacation home. And we've done that before at different times as well. The why really is the big thing. One of the things that for us has been like, this is a principle for me, is I like to have our next trip on the calendar. And that at times has been 18 months away. Like sometimes it's way in the distance, but just knowing that we've already planned some getaway for a weekend, for a night, for a longer period of time. And obviously now in this phase of life, we have a lot more flexibility with that. And it's different than a work trip too. Like, cause we do a lot of travel for work and we sometimes have fun when we do that, but that's very different. Like I say, like for work, or sometimes when you travel with your kids, and we have some funny stories about this, like that's a trip. Like it's good. It's important. Like you're investing, you're building incredible memories. I'm thankful that my parents did that with us. We've done that with our kids, but a trip. And I really say, like, when you get away just your spouse, that's really a vacation. That's really like a different level of unplugging and just getting to go at a different speed. And usually that speed is slow and really, really good. So we have lots of great stories and fun things that we've gotten to do through the years. And we could give you advice on how to do that and thoughts on that. But having something on the calendar is a really, really good thing to do.
We would love to hear from you guys too. Things that you've done, ideas, like definitely.
What's your favorite place to go?
Yeah.
How do you work the deals?
Yeah, no, for sure. That would be helpful information, and even just to share with other listeners if you comment on social so other people can see
My
it.
dream of dreams, and maybe 5 years from now, is to do a group trip, like to have an SOS. I guess that would be that SOS would not be
SOS cruisers. I don't think that's going to sell.
That out loud. I was like, it's going to be Titanic.
Every night in my dreams.
Okay, maybe we'll call it the on-script cruise.
Yes.
So, okay, but
we're gonna have to work that out.
That one needs some work.
Yeah, a lot of work. I get the heart behind it though. That would be so fun to cruise with a bunch of peeps. Yeah,
we'll work on that. So that's great. Is there anything else you want to say about the principle of play?
No, I mean, it's something I obviously feel strongly about it. It's something I appreciate and value in our marriage. And it is something I want for other marriages. When I know that it's something that couples are struggling with, it is one of those things where I'm like, oh, I almost want to be the party planner in their marriage. Let me come in and like give you some ideas of. So yeah, you be creative. Just be creative. So
I think when you have good community, when you have authenticity, when you're living on mission, like you don't have to take yourself too seriously. Yeah. Like it's okay. Like I hope you've kind of seen from this that we like to laugh with and at each other, and
no, we don't take ourselves
seriously. Very seriously.
Yeah, no, we have fun. Sometimes it goes great, and other times won't.
So, speaking of, sometimes it goes great, sometimes it goes not so great. So,
is this the game?
This is the game. And so,
all right, I'm ready.
The essential form of this game is very similar to like a Newlywed game, but we just celebrated 22 years of marriage.
We're about to. We haven't had our anniversary yet.
By the time this releases,
you
have plans on not making it there or something like that?
I'll let you know. I'll check my calendar.
Bethany has struggle understanding like that we record at one time and then it comes out at another time. So like her future doctor's appointment in December went awesome. It was amazing.
This is new for me. What
It's
do you
all
call
new
it? The
for you.
meta universe?
Meta universe. Okay. All right.
I've had a long day of work, guys.
Okay. Well,
Weeks
we're
and
going
weeks
to
ago.
make it a little longer
Okay, let's do it.
because we're going to do this new version of the Newlyweds game. And because it's 22 years of marriage that we celebrated a couple weeks ago, wink, wink, we're going to call this I'm Feeling 22 is the name of the game.
Okay.
So here's how it's going to go. I have 6 questions.
All right.
I'm going to ask you the question. Some will be just one word. Some will be a little bit of a longer answer.
Okay.
And basically you need to answer the question. And then I've pre-recorded on our fancy keypad thing
Gotcha.
my answer to the question. So I can't cheat.
I'm
and
in
change
so
the
much
answer.
trouble.
Okay.
Okay.
I feel like I've tried to make these. We'll see how your judgment is.
I just want to state at the beginning that I do love you.
I think that'll come through. All right, you ready for the first question?
I hope so. Let's do it.
Let's find out. What food that is a regular part of our current meal rotation did you not believe that you liked before we were married?
Steak.
Let's see if you got it right.
Steak.
1 for 1.
Yes. And that's the game, folks. No, just kidding.
All right.
That's pretty good. Okay.
I'm curious if you're going to get this one.
I'm
it's
also
I think
curious.
it's a 50-50. That one I was like, oh, warm you up easy. But this one's 50-50.
Okay.
What size shoe do I wear?
9.5.
Size 10.
Oh, I shrunk your feet.
Maybe an aging is going to happen.
Why did I really think I had that one, actually? Have you ever worn a 9.5?
It might have been when we first met or something like that. Like I was still
I'm going with
we were
that.
still growing. So it's like, the thing, like your shoe size can be anywhere from a 6 to a 7 based on the type of shoe.
Yep. Also embarrassing that you nailed it on my shoe size, and I don't buy your shoes. So
That's very true. All right. You ready for this one?
no, I'm already scared. Okay, go ahead.
What is something that I care about that you wish that I did not care about or that I cared about less?
I'm going with home decor.
The way our home looks / is decorated.
You nailed it.
Winning. There's been a few fights around this.
Yeah.
Backstory. I'm not telling the backstory, but yes, there's been a few fights.
That's right. You came around.
There will be a few fights.
Okay. You're doing great.
Yay.
You're good. 2 out of 3.
Okay.
Not bad. And you're pretty close. I mean, my feet would have been hurting if I had you buy me shoes. But other than that.
I won't buy your shoes.
Okay.
That's fair.
That's fine. All right. What is a habit that you have that bothers me, but not enough to be a big deal or a constant fight? What is a habit that you have that bothers me, but it's not a huge deal, but it's just something that you do that's kind of annoying to me?
Oh no. Is I don't think
I didn't have a lot to choose from, so that's good.
I don't have any habits that annoy you. Just kidding. A habit that I have that annoys you, is it leaving the toilet seat up?
Leaving the cover to the toilet up.
Oh, nailed it.
This is where we are in the Twilight Zone, because the typical cliche is the dude leaves the toilet seat up.
Okay.
And you don't leave the toilet seat up. You don't cover the toilet, which means, according to science and YouTube, that you just like to spray the bathroom with,
Okay, fair enough. But I am going to state, I feel like I've actually corrected this bad habit. I try to be really intentional. I think the toilet seat's broken. I think it opens itself.
You're doing pretty good. All right. Are you ready? There's only two more questions.
I'm feeling strong. I'm probably going to blow it, but here we go.
Okay. Let's go with, I'm going to skip ahead and do this one. What joke have you heard me tell way too many times?
That when you lived in Winchendon, there wasn't even a Dunkin' Donuts.
The joke you've heard me tell way too many times would be that I grew up in a town so small that it didn't have a Dunkin' Donuts.
Yes. I'm so much better at this than I thought I would be. Do I win a prize?
Sure, but it's not related to this last question.
Okay.
If you had $1,000 to spend on something just for yourself, what would you spend it on?
Wait, is this what you would spend it on?
I'm asking Bethany. If Bethany has $1,000,
Oh.
she gets to spend it on whatever. It has to be for herself. Spend it on whatever you want. What are you going to spend it on?
Ooh. $1,000 spent on anything. I can honestly think of a bunch of things. Do I just say?
Well, what do you think I would say? What do you think I would think?
I recently asked you for a Peloton and a treadmill,
Let's see.
but that's just recently.
You would add to your tattoo.
Oh, yes, you are right. I take it back. Can that be my prize?
No, it cannot, because you got that one wrong. So otherwise, I was going to let you finish your tattoo, but unfortunately, that is now struck from the budget, and I get to buy whatever. No, just kidding. That's not how this works.
So rude.
So rude. You did pretty well, though. That was like 4 out of 6.
That was better than I
Nailed
thought.
it.
You had me all nervous that I was going to look like an idiot. I only kind of look like an idiot.
I mean, I thought of some questions that probably would have stumped you, but I was like, I'm going to give her a shot.
Go ahead. Give me one. I'm feeling strong, Needham.
Okay. Let me think. What's the name of our mortgage company?
Okay. We're done.
How much is it? No, we won't do that.
Back to the tattoo question. Is the
Listen, if you are a scammer out there and you're trying to get finances from the Needhams, I'm just going to tell you that Bethany's email and her phone number are not going to help you at all. There's no shot.
those lawyers, Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe?
Cheatham and Howe. That's right. Yeah, okay, I'll sign up. Here's all my information.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Don't ask me anymore. I fail. Good job with the game.
Did you have anything that you expected I was going to ask that I did not ask?
I had not even had time to think about
That's
it,
fine.
to be honest.
Well,
so
thanks for playing my game.
I'm not sure I had a choice, but you're welcome. You're welcome for not getting up and walking away.
And same for the listeners. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we are so grateful to be on this journey. Next week, we are going to do a special Christmas episode.
What?
Yeah. I know.
Are you going to wear a Santa hat? I feel like you should.
Do we have one?
Yeah, we do. In the family
Are we
room.
Christians? No.
Right next to plastic baby Jesus.
So that'll be exciting. And it's been a fun journey. This is episode 5. Thanks for being along with us. And again, subscribe.
Yeah.
All the things.
Subscribe. Also, go play. Go do something fun.
Tell us what you do. That would be a really fun thing.
If it's family friendly. We don't need a lot of details.
You'll
but
get us banned on YouTube.
Be creative. Wink, wink. Have fun. Happy weekend.
Look forward to applying this advice. All right. Take care, everybody. I don't know if any of that's going to be salvageable. But
Probably
it's
not.
Pretty funny.
We were dying. I couldn't breathe.